What's up, guys? It's manga time once again, and I'm here today to bring you my top 10 favourite characters of all time in Bleach. This was requested by TOADkik, so thanks a lot for that. Just to let you guys know, it's obviously Monday at time of filming, so we have literally got a day and a half until Bleach comes back. Yeah, we've managed to survive. So yeah, congratulations. So without further ado, my top 10 favourites. Leave your own list of top 10 favourite characters in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. That would be great. Thanks. So, my 10th favourite character in Bleach. And I have to say, this list was very, very, very hard to compile. My top 4, I was like, yeah, I know that really easily. But then from then onwards, it was really kind of difficult because I had a few characters floating around, but I didn't really have like a specified order. So yeah, I thought it was really quite hard to make this video actually. But I think I've come up with a list I'm really happy with. So yeah, my 10th favourite character is Kisuke Ohara, former captain of the 12th Division and now just a humble shop owner in Karakura Town. He's massively integral to the plot at nearly all times, especially in Soul Society arc and the Rancor arc, really. He hasn't been as integral just yet in the final arc, but with what he's working on at the moment, he seems to be working on the medal, the way the Quincy Steel Bankai. He'll be the one to work out how it works and how to stop it. But obviously in the Soul Society arc gets Ichigo trained, but it's his fault, the Hogyoku. I just think Ohara's a really deep character. There's a lot of... He's very 3D. You know, you think he's a nice guy. I think he's undoubtedly a good guy. There's no real question there. He's a good guy. However, you know, he's got this dark streak about him. You know, he's a bit shady. He's possibly committed some dodgy things in the past. And then of course you've got his character design, which frankly has become pretty iconic with Bleach right now. Is just, you know, his hat, you know, it's sold across the world as a cosplay item. The way he has his fan in front of his face. It really, really reminds me of Kakashi from Naruto, if any of you read that. Ohara is the Kakashi of Bleach, basically, in my opinion. What's the expression on the internet? Oh, yeah, the expression on the internet is like something like crouching moron, hidden badass, or something like that. And that applies to quite a lot of characters in manga in general, but yeah, it definitely applies to Ohara, I think. Although now, of course, Ohara is quite serious a lot of the time. He's a bit stern, and you know he gets stuff done. Of course, he's got Benahime, which is one of my favourite Zanpakuto, blood kind of Zanpakuto. I mean, that's just awesome. Plus, it sounds like a firework in the anime, which is sweet. And then you've got his relationship with Yoruichi, which needs to be, you know, God, what's the word? Fleshed out. You know, we need that. It kind of needs to explain. They grew up together in Yoruichi's mansion, but why was Ohara there? We have no idea. I mean, did they just find him or something? Also, how does Ohara know absolutely everything about everyone? And obviously, he's got really great relationships with other intellectual characters in the series, like Miuri and Aizen. They both kind of seem to be relationships of rivalries. But interestingly, they're kind of rivalries that are one-sided. Like, Ohara doesn't seem to care. The other two are like got inferiority complexes as far as he goes. It's probably because Ohara is the smartest character in the series. So yeah, love the character. Can't wait to see his Bankai. Number 9 on my list, I just mentioned him just now, is Miuri Kurotsuchi. Such an interesting character. One of Kubo's favourite to draw. He started off, you know, as really quite a villain. You know, properly nasty guy. I mean, he still kind of is, but like he seems to be considerably more reserved these days. Probably because Kubo's had to make him look like a good guy. Miuri's cool. He's got a lot of interesting relationships across the series, and he's just got such a great design. I mean, you know, I love how it changes every arc. And his Bankai is just—it's creepy as hell, but it's really powerful, and it's one of the most original designs I've seen in the series. As far as his Bankai goes, he's got one of the best designs in my opinion. And frankly, I'd like to see a Bankai like that again. You know, like an actual kind of creature Bankai, like Komamura's as well. Because they just always seem to look so awesome. We haven't seen one in a while, actually, as far as I can recall. But yeah, Miuri, he's just great. I love the way he gets so annoyed at everyone. He's really quite funny these days as well. And obviously he's probably, I think, going to play a big role in this last arc, because he's got a very if I sound a bit croaky, it's got a sore throat this morning. He's got a very kind of, I kind of want to say dangerous relationship with the Quincy, but I think it goes even further than that now. He's kind of, I wouldn't say made peace with Uryu, or Uryu's made peace with him, but they can tolerate one another, but the Vandenreich aren't going to be like that, and I think Miuri, if they know about Miuri's experiments, he's going to be really high on their list. So Miuri's actually one of my candidates to be killed off, so yeah, that'll be interesting. So 8th on my list is Gin Ichimaru, former captain of the 3rd Division, now deceased. And yes, he is deceased. This is basically when I started Bleach. Gin was the character that I first thought, this guy is awesome. He's a really cool character, and I just think he's every time I see him, it's like, this is really interesting and great stuff. His character design, it just screams evil, which is really funny because, well, not funny, but ironic kind of, because he's not evil as such. See, this is the thing with Gin. He's very kind of conflicting. He's very it's quite deep. He's quite a deep character, really. When on the surface, he kind of just strikes you as just this psychopathic, always smiling nut job. But obviously he did everything he did for Rangiku. In my opinion, Gin's final moments and all that, basically the explanation we've been waiting for so long, was kind of glossed over. I think Kubo could have done a better job explaining that. Apparently, according to Kubo, Matsumoto's past is going to become important. So yeah, it might do. So maybe we'll find out more eventually. But yeah, I mean, Shinso is awesome. When I literally first saw Kamishini no Yari, and in the first chapter it was shown, because all he does is he swings it at Ichigo, and Ichigo blocks it, and I was like, that is the most underwhelming bank I've ever seen. How can Kubo do this to Gin? Right? Because Gin was like one of the biggest characters of all time, and then his bankai turned out to be really OP. So I was quite glad of that, actually. Obviously, Gin and Aizen had one of my favourite relationships in the entire series. Just this kind of evil duo. You kind of think that maybe those two are the only, at this point in the story anyway, they're the only two who could consider each other friends. But also they're suspicious of each other. You get quite a few occasions where Aizen's like questioning what Gin's up to, and Gin's just kind of like, oh, I'm not doing anything. It's like, oh, you get a couple of suspicious eye shots between them. Really great stuff. I really loved seeing those two together on the screen, because I thought they were just really great. Still the best evil duo we've had so far. But yeah, I mean, I just love Gin. Gin's awesome. It's definitely a shame he's dead. And in my opinion, he didn't get enough fights. He thought, if Kubo had shown us his fight with Shinji, that'd been fine. But he didn't, so that was a letdown. So yeah, I mean, Gin goes where he goes, because he's just a complete troll. And he's awesome, but at the end of the day, he does have a bit of depth to him because of the Matsumoto scenario. So, my number 7 is Ulquiorra Cypher, or Shiva, however you want to pronounce it. He's the 4th Espada, also now deceased. And basically, he's got such a great design. I mean, he's kind of a depressed clown, but he looks awesome. And he's kind of he was the first bad guy in the Arrancar arc to really make me go, wow, okay, this guy looks cool. And that's funny because he's the first bad guy you see. Obviously, he kind of has a duo with Yami, which is never really explained because they don't really strike me as being friends. But Yami, maybe Yami was put in Ulquiorra's care or something, because Aizen seems to respect Ulquiorra to a certain degree, compared to the other Espada anyway. Maybe that's just because Ulquiorra is unwaveringly subservient to him. I'm not sure. But yeah, Ulquiorra, he's obviously very powerful. I love his colour scheme, his black and green. Just his design is awesome. I'm one of these. I mean, a lot of people say Ulquiorra has like great personality and everything. I'm one of the people who really doesn't think he does. His personality does not change until he literally is seconds from death, and even then, it doesn't change that much. He's literally just like, I was starting to find you guys interesting. So if he hadn't died, yeah, he'd have changed quite a bit, I think. Possibly even, especially when Aizen was defeated, Ulquiorra could have been a contender for helping out against the Vandenreich. But Before that, Okira was basically just a cold, ruthless killing machine. Obviously, his fights with Ichigo were great. His final battle with Ichigo is one of the best in the series, in my opinion. And I don't think he got shafted in death, actually. I don't, because it makes complete sense, because the Hollow already said that if you die, I'll come back. Ichigo died, he came back. So, you know, I have absolutely no problem with that. And it was really cool anyway. The imagery was fantastic. You had, like, these two demons fighting in, like, fire. It was like some hell battle. It was awesome. So cool. So, yeah, Okira has always been one of my favourite Espadas, simply because he's stoic. Just the way I don't know, I think he looks awesome. You know, he's just a great character. Number 6 on my list is the only other Espada on my list, and that's Coyote Stark, the first Espada, also deceased, unfortunately. Though if you like listening to my crack theories, you'll know that I kind of hope he's alive and well in Huecamundo and training with the rest of them right now. But, yeah, no, Stark's great. I mean, I've always liked Stark. The thing with the top 3 Espada is they didn't really do anything until Fate Karakura. However, out of those 3... Stark always, in my opinion, looked the coolest. And out of those 3, he was the one we saw do the most prior to the battle. He had his little talk with Lilinet after Adonado died, and then he came and took Orihime back to the palace. So, you know, Stark, he's awesome. I always thought he was going to fight Shinsui, which was great when it came true. He's laid back, he's lazy, but you know he's really powerful. And there's just a lot of things I like about Stark. Wolf is my favourite animal, for instance, and that's the animal that Stark represents, the lone wolf, number 1. But also, I love Zero, and his ability is basically Zero manipulation. I know later on it becomes like soul manipulation, but to start with, it's Zero manipulation, and he's so awesome. Literally everything about him is so stylish. Again, it's a failing most of the Espada have, is that Stark's not really got a huge amount of personality, bar his single trait, which is being lazy and not. But the thing is, Stark's interesting in my opinion because he's about the only Espada that truly cares for probably all of the comrades there. I mean, you don't really know because you don't get enough insight into the character, but he doesn't like fighting really. You know, I think that's why he was like, yeah, Barragan, you can just be the boss if you want. I don't give a crap because you know he's like, I don't want to fight them because you know Stark's there to make friends. Basically, that's why he's there. You know, and he doesn't want to get on anyone's bad side. So I think Stark's a really interesting character. Obviously, his fight with Shinsui was great. A lot of people could say Stark did get shafted, and I agree, he kind of did. But at the same time, it was a testament to his strength. You know, the only way anyone could really land a hit on him was to backstab him, was to surprise him. So, yeah, in my opinion, I think Stark was great. I think his power level was justified. And all around, he was just a great character. So now we're in the top 5. And it's the person who killed Stark at number 5, Kyoraku Shinsui, currently Captain Commander of the Gotei 13 and former Captain of the 8th Division. I didn't think a lot of Shinsui back in like the Soul Society arc because most of my attention was focused on captains like Byakuya, Kenpachi, Gin, just captains that were doing a lot of the time. But, you know, over time Shinsui has become a more rounded character, and Fate Karakura battle just sealed the deal for me, as him being my favourite captain and one of my favourite characters. He's, in my opinion, one of the most 3D characters we have in the series. So well-rounded, so much depth, and great character development, in my opinion, as well. Obviously, at the beginning of the series, he literally is so carefree, doesn't care about much at all. You know, he's talking about, I guess I'm going to get scolded by Yama again. You know, he's basically like some lazy-ass child. Doesn't really care about anything. Womanizing, drinking. But as time goes on, like, he gets serious in the Aizen fight. And I just love the kind of imagery that comes over Shinsui. Obviously, his Shikai is awesome. It looks amazing. And it has, like, shadow powers as well as game powers. And the shadow thing is all part of the imagery, in my opinion, because, like, when he becomes serious, you know, he gets, like, a shadowed face. He loses his Hayori as well, which helps, because then he's just wearing black. And he just looks all round really kind of evil and sinister. And you realise that there's a dark side to this guy that hasn't been seen yet. Now that Yama has died, and Shinsui has become Captain Commander, he's had to take up a whole lot more responsibility. And, you know, you've really seen the change. Like, lately, he's okay, I mean, in the last chapter he joked around a little bit. Before that, while he's been Captain Commander, we've not really seen him do that. He's been very serious. It's almost like the eye patch he's got has signalled a change of character. Like, he's realised now he has to be serious, he has to be responsible. And I love that. That's the character development that is just so great. And he's such a well-rounded character. Can't wait to see his Bankai. Will he get revenge on Colonel Sanders, or will he fight somewhere else? At the moment, he's in the human world, so it's going to be interesting to see what Kubo does with that. So fourth on my list is Shukuro Tsukishima. So this is where I kind of knew from now on who my list was going to be, and the order it was going to be as well. Shukuro Tsukishima is a character from the Lost Agent arc, usually considered the least popular arc of Bleach. He was part of the evil duo with himself and Ginjo. He was kind of the second-hand man. But for the majority of the arc, he was the main villain. And he's just awesome. The dude's got style, for one thing. Like, those braces he wears, he just looks awesome. He looks really cool. Even if he looks like a serious Aizen clone at the beginning, I think he came into his own towards the end in terms of character design. Oh, I'm really quite ill today. Sorry about this. But, yeah, no, and he's got really frightening and really quite original powers as well. I love the whole memory changing thing, but also the whole I can come into your memories and be someone else. Great psychological villain there. I love his character design again, and the way, like, whenever he's a real crazy guy, Tsukishima, but he hides it under a facade of being like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm collected, I like to read. But when he goes crazy, like, his face goes all shadowed and his eyes like light up. Great character, and his final fight with Byakuya is the best fight in the Lost Agent arc, hands down. I literally cannot wait to see Tsukishima again in the final arc. It's just going to be fantastic. And I hope he actually builds some relationships with characters rather than fake relationships. I know that's kind of what his character is about, and his like only real relationship was kind of with Ginjo. Although the majority of the Fullbringers seem to look up to Tsukishima. Again, it's just a case of we need to know more about those two's history. So hopefully we get that. Third on my list is the Quincy Sternritter as not the Fear. And just a great character. He's not even been in it much. He's been in it maybe, 5-6 chapters at most so far. But he's left such a massive impression on me. He's such a great villain. I was really worried that Kubo was actually going to kill him off with Yama, because it would have been such wasted potential. For one thing, Asnot's design is one of the best Kubo's done in a long time. You know, it's one that immediately invites intrigue and mystery. You know, you're like, why does he wear the mask? You know, what's behind it? Why does he wear the mask? Yeah, Batman. But yeah, you get the intrigue. And the thing is, with Asnot, he has one of the coolest powers in the series so far to draw out your greatest fears and use them against you. Not even your greatest fears, just the primal instinct of fear itself, which in my opinion is basically unbeatable. But and it's hard to really say a lot about Az because he's not been in it that much. But in my opinion, he's already got quite a cool personality. You know, he's obviously very dramatic. He talks about fear a lot when he gets the chance. But that's not the main thing about Asnot's personality. The main thing about him is the facial expressions he makes. Like when he stole Byakuya's Bankai, he had that really kind of iconic troll face that he does, where you can tell he's smiling even though he's got a mask covering this much of his face. You know, because his eyes are kind of like that, and he's like, I don't know, he's just great. He's just got really great facial expressions. And yeah, Az is just a great character, and I really cannot wait to see more from him. Can't wait to see his Volston dish. Just show us more Asnot, Kubo, and I'll be happy. Second on my list, another new character, although he's been seen considerably more than Asnot, is Yuharvok, King of the Quincy. I mean, this guy is the villain we've been waiting for, really. Because he's just bloodthirsty, he wants to destroy everything, but there's depth to him as well, in my opinion. You know, he wants to destroy everything, but at the same time he's like, I don't like fights, you know, don't do that in front of me. But he's possibly he's a warmonger himself, in my opinion. And you know, Yuharvok, he's got so much history, and in my opinion, he's been integrated into the lore of the Bleachverse so well. Like, he's the guy who killed Masaki, he's the guy who killed Katagiri. I mean, it's all indirect, but he did it, technically. And I love the fact he's this legendary sealed king. You can kind of imagine what happened, can't you? You can imagine, like, 1,000 years ago, Yamamoto sealed Ohara away for 1,000 years. Modern day, you can just imagine the Quincy would like tell their children this bedtime story of this great king who was sealed away. These days, they no longer know if it's real or not, but it is, and it's awesome. And now he's finally come back. And I'm very excited for the potential of Ohara, just because he gets so much done. And so far he's had so many successes already. Like, he's just kicked ass. He's impulsive, but he does get stuff done. You know, he doesn't wait around. He's invaded them twice in about 5 days now. And the best thing about the invasions is they seem to come out of nowhere. So the reader as well is like, oh my god, whoa, this guy, you know, he doesn't wait. He doesn't wait around. But that's something I've liked so far about Ohara, is that he doesn't do a lot of like gloating and stuff like that. I mean, he kind of his version of gloating with Yama was kind of just some evil smile and like, farewell Yamamoto. They just cut him down. And that's the thing, he waited until Yama was on the ground to do his monologuing. So yeah, that's great, and I love the potential Ohara can bring to the lore of the world. He can bring with him so much history. You know, he and Yama can just fill up so many blank spaces we have. Don't even mention Ohara's design. He looks amazing. Everyone coined that he and Zangetsu were similar in terms of looks. And when he fights, he's illustrated so well. He's very animated when he fights. And I tell you what I love. I love the fact we have an old guy as the main villain. And there are some times when Ohara looks really old, because he's got the wrinkles on his face, the sharp edges, and the big moustache, the big mutton chops. He looks really old at points, and I love that, because it brings an air of authority. It brings an imposing air, and Ohara is imposing. He's foreboding. Whenever he's in a scene, he steals it, in my opinion. And he's just such a hulking guy as well. Like, the best example, I mean, like, he fills up the page a lot, but the best example of this, in my opinion, is when he's fighting Ichigo briefly. He grabs Ichigo's hand. Ohara's hand is about the same size as Ichigo's head. Literally, he like just grabs his hand and smashes him to the ground. So he's a brutal fighter, but he's not a dumb man either. You know, he's a tactician, he's a war strategist. All round great villain, and I just can't wait to see more of him. But there is only one person who could be my #1 character of Bleach. And I'm not sure if you could pick up who it is from my videos. You might be able to. But if you can't, here it is now. My #1 character of Bleach is Sosuke Aizen. Well, hey. Now, Sosuke Aizen is a Marmite character. You either love him or you hate him. Or you get trolled by him, in which case you hate him. But I love him. He's such a great character. Obviously, when the series started, I was like, this guy is a bit of a nothing character. They're just going to kill him off for no reason, but just to move the plot along. That's not the case in one of the greatest kind of reveals in history, in my opinion. Aizen's reveal is so great. And then from that moment on, he's cemented as being one of my favourite characters. He's just a great villain. He's a magnificent bastard. When he ascends to Huaycamundo, all his talk about being a god. Obviously, you have the very visual change of how he looks, with his sweeping his hair and destroying his glasses. But Aizen as well, God, he's just such a great character. I love the way he trolls just about everyone who tries to even speak to him. Like, for example, the best one is the way he turns every regular question into like some convoluted thing is just brilliant. It's when Toshiro stabs Momo and Shinji's like, when did you start using Kyokusui Getsu? And Aizen just replies with, when did I start using it? What an interesting question. I think you should be asking, when did you start believe I wasn't using it? It's like, why can't you just say I was using it at the beginning of the fight? But no, that wouldn't be the Aizen way of doing it. He has to do it like that. It's just fantastic the way he does it like that. Aizen's so interesting though, because in my opinion, he showcases examples of Samakuro's best writing and Samakuro's worst writing. He's an amalgamation of everything, really. Aizen kind of is Bleach for me at this point, just because he's done so much. He's been so integral to everything. And I do think his character has depth, even if we have only seen like the kind of planning, calm Aizen for the most part. But in my opinion, a lot of people say Aizen's character degraded in Deicide, but I don't really think it did. If you think about it, you have this guy who has this massive god complex, and he's been planning this plan for hundreds of years. Now, can you imagine if some punk-ass little 15-year-old human came and wrecked it? I think I'd fly into an insane rage as well. And frankly, I liked how fast Aizen did fall into his insanity, because it just shows you how close he was all the time on this brink of madness. Obviously, Kubo's kept him alive for a reason. He's in Muken, the prison, 8 floors beneath Seirete. We're bound to see him again. I think we'll get a nice little conversation between him and Ohara. Obviously, he and Ohara have somehow seen the Spirit King. What's that all about? I hope Kubo really reveals some more about Aizen soon, because we don't know anything about his history whatsoever. Ichigo came up with something about maybe Aizen just wanted to be a regular Shinigami. No. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. I don't believe that in the slightest. If Aizen wanted to become a regular Shinigami, why was he going on about being God all the time? Why would he give that speech to Shinji saying who he should start worshipping? Simple fact is, Aizen wanted to rule the world, Ichigo. Simple as that. And I can't wait to see what will happen, frankly. Aizen is, without a doubt, in my opinion, the most interesting character in the series. He's just got such a great design. He's just so evil. Such a bastard. He's a great bastard. He's fantastic. So that's it, guys. That's my list of my top 10 favourite characters. Thanks again, TOADkik, for the recommendation. I'm sorry for my voice and just being a bit stuffy and ill. I don't know, I'm feeling pretty rough today. But, yeah, thanks again, guys, for all of your support. Give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my videos if you haven't already. And I shall see you in a day and a half for Bleach 547. But until then, guys, I shall catch you later.